since 2014, we've made a over 1 billion rand investment in the city centre in Durban, and we're very proud and excited about the work that we're doing in this, what I consider to be a very great city. A city which to some extent has gone out of fashion. We were talking about this earlier with Eric while we were waiting. The property business, like many others, can also be a fashion business. And this city, in many ways, got a bad press and went out of fashion, was considered maybe dangerous, maybe there was other language around this city. Post-apartheid, there was a great movement away from the city by the businesses, by the white people, by money. And what took its place, unlike other cities like Cape Town, which worked in, was the African community, the African people of this country reclaimed their city in a very poignant way. But what happened was that there was complete lack of investment. The investors were sitting in Sandton City, sitting behind their computers, looking at their spreadsheets, and I can absolutely guarantee you very, very few of those fund managers who own many of these big buildings, such as the one we're sitting in today, actually ever came back into this city to see what a vibrant and amazing city it actually is right today. So I would say to you, members of the press, that you are part of a very, very important profession, because you set the tone, the language, the discourse, the conversation about the city. And what I want to be involved in is a transformation of that conversation. And I think today is an important part of that transformation. So thank you for being here. I first saw Sekile's work. It was a little smaller at the time. It was about this size. He mocked it up for us. He did the artwork. I was blown away by it. And I thought what it did is encapsulated the essence of not only what we're trying to achieve here in the professional quarter, which I'll talk a little bit more about specifically in a second, but also about the essence of this city and the future of this city. Because the future of the city is to be an interesting, middle-class, vibrant African city that could lead African cities across this continent, not only in South Africa. So we're incredibly excited. As I say, we've invested a lot of money. We will invest a lot of money, and one of the areas we've invested is right here. We've bought two buildings. This building, the old Nedbank Tower, which is going to be renamed Durban Club Chambers, and the building opposite, which is 6 Durban Club. They sit off Anton Lembede Street in Durban Club Place, and we're going to rename it the Professional Quarter. Already in 6 Durban Club there are over 200 advocates that are currently working there, so it's got a fantastic legal provenance, and of course it's another reason why Anton Lembede, who was amongst many other things an inspirational character, one of the four founders or maybe the Black Consciousness movement, of other inspiration, and a friend of Madiba. But on top of all of that, he was also a lawyer at a very young age, and the depiction of Anton walking with his satchel to the courts just sort of blew me away, and thank you, Sekile, for making that possible. I also think it's interesting that when I'm in Durban Club Place today, it's often, I see a guy that could be Anton Lembede. He could be Anton Lembede. A guy walking to the courts with his papers, looking smart, an intelligent guy. He could be, and I think that image is very poignant for the regeneration of this city overall. When we look at a project, our starting point is, what is the big idea? What is the big vision for this particular area? And with this professional quarter, we had the buildings, we had 200 advocates in Durban Club Place. We sat with them, we thought about how can we make this area absolutely perfect for their needs. And we're not just talking the needs of lawyers, but also other professional people. And we started with, what could we do to make this amazing for them? What could we do to make it absolutely world class? And what we've come up with is a complete refurbishment of both buildings. On this very floor that we're sitting on, there's going to be a rooftop extension. It's going to be 1,000 square meters, where we're putting in place what we're calling Durban Club Chambers, which is going to be a club, a members club for all of the advocates and all of the professionals that work within the quarter. There will be restaurants and bars and other facilities for the advocates. On the floor above, There's going to be all the rooms that they need, so mediation rooms, arbitration rooms, a lecture theatre, conferencing facilities, etc., etc. So we're creating what is the sort of perfect environment. On the lower levels, we're going to have coffee shops, we're going to have Apple Computer coming in, we're speaking to Starbucks, we're going to be putting in retail that works for these people. So we create an environment which is absolutely perfect for them, and I look forward to that emerging over the next year to 18 months. We expect to be finished certainly within 18 months. And I look forward to coming back into this space when it's a vibrant operating club which is going to be used by all the people who work within this facility. So once again, thank you to Sekile, thank you to the family of Anton Lembede, thank you to my team for putting this together, and thank you to all of you for coming. Once again, you're part of a very, very important profession, and the discourse about this city lies to some extent within your hands. Thank you.
I'm the marketing director of Urban Lime, and I've been working on this project for about 18 months now to get the mural up on the wall. I want to talk a little bit about the role of eThekwini municipality, because when we first approached the city of Durban, which was about a year ago, we found out that murals and artwork on private buildings was just strictly prohibited. Okay, so there was no provision that was actually made within the city framework for in any department for approvals or processes or anything like that. We were very lucky because our timing was great at the time, because eThekwini were in the process of actually reviewing all of their advertising bylaws and things like that. And they were fantastically reactive and put together a little task team immediately to talk about the broader issue of public art and permissions and how that should actually work within the city. So we had a series of meetings with the team to talk about not just this piece that you see here today, but also to talk about global best practice from around the world, how that best practice is very important in sort of anchoring urban regeneration. So why is art important in an important part of urban regeneration? We also presented legislative papers, which is the details of which are in the press pack that we will give you, which were put together by the City of Melbourne, that eThekwini are considering as well. So as a direct response to all of our requests, the city has undertaken to include provisions in the new bylaws which will lift all of these very strict bans and will enable the legislation and approval process of murals and public art on private buildings and public buildings within certain precincts as well. And that should, so the framework is being worked out at the moment, and those new bylaws should actually come into effect in June 2017. So I can't tell you how proud we are, Urban Lime, to be the catalyst and the test case really for what we hope will be a very vibrant future and will encourage artists and people to provide things which make our space, which is the public space, better in this city. You know, we're incredibly humbled to be working with a city council that is so forward-thinking in this regard.
First, we'd like to thank the Anton Lembede family for giving us the life of Anton. I think he did a lot of profound things to give the voice of particularly young African people a voice. What's happening today, I think, epitomizes that I was young once and I was angry and I did some things and said some things. Sometimes I regret, but I think Anton did a lot of things that brought us where we are today. And really, thank you. And Johnny and the team here, thank you for investing and giving confidence to our inner city regeneration. And I really agree that we need to have a partnership. But I think the most important message I'd like to make is that when I look at that picture of Anton Lembede, the young man I remember I was also a young man walking down the street there and being very angry and hating these buildings and getting to City Hall and shouting at the mayor and wanting to do other stuff and the police chasers. And I'm sure Anton did those things. And we in a time now where we need to I look at a lot of young, particularly African people walking in this space, looking for opportunity, and they've got a lot of ideas. They're creative people. They studying law and administration, and they are going to be the people that are going to participate and own the space. And I think that for me is a very powerful partnership. And I think the partnership here is also that the whole environment of public art, murals. Now I know some of you have friends that were arrested for doing mural spray painting, people from Glenwood. And there's been a lot of beautiful mural art, particularly the Human Rights Wall on the ICC perimeter. So the old prison around the ICC, and those spaces haven't been maintained, they haven't been properly managed. There's been cases where people wrapped a huge banner around a building, not realizing people actually live in there and they needed to have access to the windows. So it's really about how do we create an environment to put powerful message of public art that celebrate who we are, and importantly, I'm sure a lot of young people in particular didn't know Anton Lembede was. And with this picture up here, they're going to know why we renamed the street. You know, the controversy about renaming streets, I think you're always going to put education and understanding of why you do things. It helps. Take people on the journey. I think that's what we're doing here today. It's taking people on a journey of discovery, of exploring, of understanding. And then it reduces conflict. That's my personal view. So really, we are going to be a partner with Urban Lime on ensuring that the legislation and legislative environment, statutory environment that the city puts in bylaws around that, one, it creates opportunities for artists to do what they do best, but at the same time ensuring that, we also celebrate where we're going with the art. It tells the story of who we are. But I think the other most important thing is that we need to ensure that the occupational health and safety concerns of the people that live and work in a building or people that use a space, like in particular with roads, right? That is why the road authority is quite sensitive about big art being on major highways, because you can't have people driving and concentrating on the art and not on the journey they are, particularly the speed they're traveling. So there's a lot of issues that need to be considered of where you put the art, how it's done. And I think that process, the partnership between Urban Lime will create a very important platform or precedent that others could use, both in Durban and in other cities around our country. And even, the Melbourne experience, I think, is a very good, and I think we should look at others as well, to ensure that we really celebrate who we are as a city, but at the same time ensuring that as government we are responsible in ensuring that, because we don't want a situation where people put art and billboards and adverts all over the show and it loses its impact and meaning in terms of what you're trying to illustrate. So finally, thank you very much to the Lembede family. Thanks Urban Lime for bringing confidence to the inner city. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming.
I'm Sandhya Mahabir. I'm an advocate and I occupy chambers at 6 Durban Club Place, which is across the road. Firstly, on behalf of the KwaZulu-Natal Bar, I would like to congratulate the team from Urban Lime for presenting Durban with that magnificent piece of art that we have all seen outside. The bar also thanks Urban Lime for investing in the legal profession as a whole. From conceptualization to execution, Urban Lime's vision of a legal precinct in the Durban Club Place area excites us. Speaking personally, I have practiced as an advocate at number 6 Durban Club Place for 15 years now, and I have experienced the disappointment of previous landlords who have not fulfilled their promises to us. By contrast, Urban Lime is proving itself to be committed to the upliftment not just of the building, but of the lives, security and comfort of its occupants. This is refreshing and it augurs well for our future. More needs to be done to further and protect our common interests, which ultimately lies in developing this precinct as a place where the legal profession specifically prefers to meet, practice, and do business. We appreciate the good faith with which Urban Lime has engaged with members of the bar, and we look forward to continuing to work with you to develop the precinct as a place that legal practitioners and the public at large will admire, respect, and cherish. Thank you.
I would like to greet a municipality representative, the Urban Lime company, all the press members that are here. It's a great pleasure that you are here, and it's a great pleasure that Urban Lime has done this great work of this mural. You are keeping the legacy of Anton Lembede alive. The family is very much appreciating what has happened. I won't forget to appreciate the work of Sakile Mhlongo. Well done, my boy. Well done. So I like to say some few words about Anton Lembede, because some of us here maybe do not know who is. I want to tell you who is Anton Lembede. Anton Lembede is one of the iconic historical figures and an important contributor to socio-political change in South Africa. He made a crucial contribution to transforming society from unjust racial segregationist system to current constitution. His contribution shaped the African perspective of modernity, the liberation struggle, and youth political identity. This Anton that I'm talking about was an educator, a multilingualist. He could speak Dutch, German, Latin, Sotho, Afrikaans. He could speak fluently all those languages and many more. And in his matric, when he was writing his matric, he got distinction in Latin. And when he was writing his LLB, he got on the German language, he got distinction. He was very much intelligent. He was a philosopher. He was a lawyer. He was a Christian. He was the founder president of the ANC Youth League. He was the enemy of all kinds of oppression. He was a politician. He was a scholar. He was a visionary leader. He was an intelligent giant. That is Anton Lembede. So, and even more than that, he was humble. He wasn't violent. He used the press to voice out what he was saying to the people, especially in politics. That's how he connected people to what he was seeing, to what he was viewing, to what he was thinking about the new South Africa. And he believed in Africanism. He also believed in the education of young people so that they could be bright and think well and do the right things. So that was Anton Lembede. He trained at Adams College and obtained his teaching certificate in 1935. While he was teaching, he was also doing matric privately, and he got distinctions, the intelligent giant. After that, he did some teaching here in KwaZulu-Natal, Newcastle, and transferred to Orange Free State. While teaching, he was studying law at UNISA, doing many things at the same time because he was intelligent. But he was very much worried about the life of a black person. I think that is why he studied law, so that when he was going to speak, he could use what he can quote from the law, what he can quote from the sections of the law or from the Constitution. When he got his LLB, when he obtained his LLB in 1942, he then left teaching and went to Gauteng to Dr. Priestley Isagaseme law firm, where he served his articles. He served there. He was winning all the cases. He was winning all the cases. And he could even defend the case in Afrikaans, in fluent Afrikaans. Yes. He could defend the case in fluent Soto, because there are people of speaking Soto in Gauteng. Everything was fluent with him. He became a fully fledged lawyer. He was well known in Gauteng. People were getting strong and hope that now there is somebody to speak for us when we need help. That is Anton Lembede. And then when he was still serving the articles, he studied his MA degree, which he obtained in 1945. He wrote his thesis. His thesis is there at the museum. The thesis that he wrote is there at the museum. So he obtained that master's degree in law in 1945. He continued to work as a lawyer, intelligent lawyer. When he died in 1947, he died studying the doctorate in law. He died in 1947, 30 July 1947. So because of his work, because he was struggling for the black people to get the good opportunities in their land, and then he was working hard. He was working with Dr. Nelson Mandela, Walter Sisulu, and others, struggling for the liberation of South Africa. Because of that, we have started the Anton Lembede Trust to keep his legacy alive. We've got some projects that we're running there. We focus on education of children, poor communities. We focus on his legacy. And then, as I am standing here, once again, thank you very much for the mural. I hope that Sakila will do more for other people. And I also urge municipality, Urban Lime, other private sectors to please donate to the trust. We have no funds. Let me talk the truth. We have no funds, yet we go out to help the people. Thank you.
I'm the artist that made a design of Anton Lembede, of the one that you see today, the mural that you see today, yeah, I must say. And it's such like a grateful thing. It makes me feel like so special. It makes me feel so happy, yeah, to be a part of this great and wonderful project. Such good people. They are good people, and it was good to work with Urban Lime, and it's been so good to work with them. So I'd love to work with them in future.
Cassia Kulu, CWTV, Durban.